There's a legendary vault. Prince has a vault.
We could put out more work in a month than most people could do in a year or more.
No one goes into the vault once it's opened.
USA Today reported that Prince had already stockpiled, back in 1991, 385 fully finished songs in a single Paisley Park safe, and that number only covered music up to Diamonds and Pearls. Archivists who opened the walk-in vault after his death now estimate the stash at around 8,000 recordings in total.
Prince wanted to be remembered as an important artist. He wanted to be known as one. He didn't want to be known as a mere mortal, as a human being, as what he actually was. And we all who worked for him or knew him, we respected that.
In January 1986, famed architect Brett Theuny and acoustician Marshall Long began work on a $10 million complex in Chanhassen, Minnesota, a sprawling 65,000 square foot creative sanctuary combining studios, residences, and rehearsal spaces. By 1990, Prince's engineer Susan Rogers later recalled, "When I left in '87, it was nearly full, already crammed with unreleased tracks, rehearsal takes, film clips, and live jams."
I've never known anyone who had a stronger work ethic. If he wasn't on a date and he wasn't on a business call, he was making music. And we made music every day. I was his full-time employee, so if we were not on tour, we did rehearsals during the day, and then we recorded at night.
The vault, constructed within the basement foundation, wasn't just for security. It was a fortress for creativity, where Prince stockpiled every piece of art he produced. Prince himself hinted at the scale. In 1989, Spin staff said it contained at least 500 finished or near-finished tracks, while in a 1996 interview, Prince estimated up to 1,000 songs inside. Later reports speculated as many as 8,000 songs lurk within, enough for a vault the size of Paisley's basement.
And they made quite clear, no one goes into the vault once it's opened until we clear it. Once drugs have been found by the Carver County Sheriff's Office.
The vault was impenetrable. "It's a literal bank vault," reported The Guardian, and only Prince knew the combination. Because of this, it remained untouched. Not even Prince's closest collaborators or estate archivists could get in without him. Prince teased its existence as early as the mid-'80s, but it wasn't until his engineer Susan Rogers and sound teams casually noted row after row of everything.
He himself could not have functioned if he'd been obsessing over every little detail. His work was gesture sketches. His music would come out like a sneeze. It was just bam, 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 bam.
On April 21st, 2016, the world lost Prince. But what emerged from beneath Paisley Park was far more than memories. It was a 6,000-pound steel vault, packed with decades of musical history, and no one but Prince ever had the keys.
We could put out more work in a month than most people could do in a year or more.
Estimates from the estate and archival experts placed the total number of unreleased songs at over 8,000, with some guesses climbing near 10,000. That's enough for more than 50 albums. In the 1980s, engineer Susan Rogers recalled shelves so packed row after row that she couldn't even close the door on the vault. There were fully finished vault albums. Think Camille and Dream Factory, and even a project called The Vault, Volumes 1, 2, and 3, alongside rehearsal jams and more than 50 unreleased music videos. Prince took the combination to his grave. Only Bremer Trust could authorize its breach after his death. They enlisted safecracker Dave McCommie, who drilled through the Mosler Century Vault's mousetrap relocker to break in. And when the vault door finally swung open, it was floor-to-ceiling in tapes. McCommie described it as a portal into another world, a musical time machine. By 2017 to 18, archivist Michael Howe led the relocation of tapes to a secure, climate-controlled Iron Mountain facility in Los Angeles, preserving and digitizing each one.
There's a legendary vault. Prince has a vault of, material that is, exceptionally large and mostly unexploited for the most part, and, incredibly rich. I mean, I cannot think really of a more a deeper well of, culturally important but unheard or unseen material.
It was the start of an enormous organizational effort. Howe described his job like curating the Louvre, deciphering dates, identifying engineers, and rescuing masters that were deteriorating. Susan Rogers revealed Prince had begun cataloging tapes in the early 80s, handwriting track titles, take numbers, dates, to organize his work. So far, we've seen posthumous releases like Piano and a Microphone 1983, discovered in the vault by Howe. The next big find, Welcome to America, recorded in March-April 2010, featuring touring musicians Tal Wilkenfeld and Chris Coleman, never released until July 30th, 2021.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things out there as well when you think about, like, there's a Shaka Khan project that's in there that was never been released. There's a Sheila E. album in there from 1989 that has never been released. I've talked about this before, there's a Sheena Easton album that was never released.
With no spouse or children, the court recognized 6 heirs, his full sister, Tyka Nelson, and 5 half-siblings, sparking a legal maze that dragged on for 6 years. It wasn't until August 2nd, 2022, that Minnesota courts finally agreed on a settlement.
I had been preparing for 2 years, so I knew that it was coming. He said it a couple of years ago. I've done everything that I've come to do.
Legal documents from the Carver County District Court reveal a tangle of motions, objections, and valuation disputes that lasted from 2016 until 2022. In January 2022, Prince's estate was finally split in 2, half owned by Prince Legacy LLC, a holding company formed by the 3 eldest heirs, and the other half sold to Primary Wave, a private music publishing firm that specializes in legacy artist catalogs. Estimates valued his estate at roughly $156 million, covering the Paisley Park property, music publishing rights, and those unreleased vault contents declared as intangible assets.
Emotionally, I stay centered through music. It's the best medicine in the world.
Between 2016 and 2021, just 7 official vault-backed releases were issued, including Welcome to America and Originals. Streaming performance has been strong. America debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 in July 2021 and topped vinyl sales for that month. But since then, silence. As of 2024, no full new Vault album has been released in over 3 years. Prince didn't hide music out of paranoia. He shelved projects because he didn't think they were done.
I like criticism. I like constructive criticism from smart people.
Fans and even bandmates speculated that some projects were abandoned purely because he felt they were subpar. I think the point for many was that the album was shelved by him specifically, possibly only at a demo or work-in-progress level, wrote a Reddit user in March 2025. Michael Howe, Prince's Vault archivist, noted the forensic care taken when producing expanded reissues of albums like 1999, chasing down elusive cassette overdubs because Prince's attention to sonic detail. He wasn't just recording, he was performing concepts. In late 1986, he created Camille, a female-voiced persona via pitch-shifted vocals, planning an anonymously released album. Weeks before release, he scrapped it. Some copies pressed, others destroyed, and folded tracks into Sign of the Times instead. It was more than music. It was identity exploration. Prince often reworked scrapped material. His albums were never lost, but evolved. The Crystal Ball triple album, 1986, morphed into the 2-disc Sign of the Times after internal and label pushback. He conceived a third Madhouse instrumental album in 1988 to 89, but reused many tracks on later projects. Nothing was ever wasted. Music critic Brent Fisher noted up to 70% of collaborations with Prince sat unreleased. He held space for future creativity, not just consumption. Beyond perfection, some projects were shelved for spiritual reasons. The Black Album, 1987, with its dark content, was famously buried overnight when Prince attributed it to a negative entity he called Spooky Electric. It wasn't suppression, it was introspection. He refused to release anything that didn't reflect where he stood spiritually. Around 45% of Vault assets, including tapes, videos, and session files, are now digitized and archived, with estate leaders pledging to ramp up the pace despite technical and budget constraints. Here's what fans can expect: a deluxe boxed edition of Around the World in a Day from 1985, heading to shelves in late 2025, a Parade from 1986 deluxe package planned for 2026, vinyl debuts for Hit and Run, Phase 1 and Phase 2, titles previously available only digitally. Prince Legacy's approach stresses quality over speed. With 6 entities holding stakes: Estate, Primary Wave, Sony, Warner, Universal, and siblings, they aim for releases that enhance rather than exploit his art. This isn't just nostalgia, it's preserving a visionary's legacy. With each release, live show, and digital offering, the Vault shapes how a new generation discovers Prince. As of mid-2025, the Vault isn't just a storage room. It's an evolving legacy, merging archival care, fan empowerment, and creative adaptation.